Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jordan, for the introduction. It's nice to meet all of you, including my dual degree cohort who probably hasn't seen me in 4 or 5 years. Um, yeah, I'm going to be talking today about Frisbee, which is something that I've been doing since I started here at Brown, but I've actually never talked about in an academic or professional sense. So um, bear with me. Um, so 3 days ago, this was Monday, my Brown Ultimate Frisbee team won the collegiate national championship. Um, Thank you. Here's a video of Ultimate Frisbee being played if you've never seen it before. The goal is to complete a pass in the attacking end zone, and if you drop it, then you have to play defense. I'm not in this clip. So the slides are auto-advancing every 28 seconds. So if I'm rambling on for too long, the presentation knows. It is fun, but I wanted to talk about competition. At the beginning, I played baseball. It looks like it's auto-advancing pretty fast. So I think it's going every 10 seconds. I'll just keep moving it back. So I played baseball. You can see the ball on the ground. I missed it. I stopped playing baseball when all the kids started pitching, and I got hit a bunch of times, and so I started playing non-contact sports. But I've always been a puzzle lover, game lover. Here's me playing poker and solving my first 5x5 Rubik's Cube. Playing pool. For many of you that know me know that I'm always playing a new game or trying to solve something new. I love kind of the thrill of that success. As this transition into high school, I took a liking to woodworking, and I wanted to sort of like master a craft or try something new. So on the left we have this like Rams stool that I created, and on the right was a fan back Windsor chair. So I was super interested in the development of my own craft and my own abilities, sort of in a similar way to the Rubik's Cube. This is a project that I worked on at the end of my senior year. As you probably by now would not be surprised by, I was the leader of the chess club and the bridge club. So I'd spend my lunches playing cards with my friends instead of socializing. But yeah, this is one of my favorite projects that I did at the time. And throughout high school, I played Frisbee. There's me my freshman year. And I didn't really have a good body type for like many like sports because I'm really skinny and small. But I love Frisbee. It's a great opportunity to get outside and meet people. And I spent all my weekends playing. In 2019, the Brown Ultimate Team won the national championship. This was their first national championship since 2005. And so at this point, I had gotten into Brown and knew that I had big shoes to fill. In terms of my career aspirations, I think I applied with physics and philosophy as my intended concentration. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I did know that whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to be the best at it. I knew that I wanted to have a sort of like lucrative career at some point, and I wanted to keep my options open so at any point future me could make the decision to like buy that extra house in the Bahamas or whatnot. I want to do a quick aside on RISD critiques, which is like a big buzzword for a lot of folks who are students. I absolutely hated critiques my freshman year of RISD. These are some charcoal drawings that I did. I think the reason why I hated critiques was because it was just like time spent doing stuff that like wasn't related to my potential career aspirations. And I just wanted to like get in the shops. I wanted to be working at the table saw. I wanted to be sort of furthering my career ambitions. In 2021, this is after COVID, we lost in semifinals to UNC Darkside. Darkside will be a name that you see a lot over the course of this presentation. I didn't play a ton in this game, but I still felt ownership over the loss, and it was a bummer to not repeat as champions. Sort of pivoting into my brown concentrations, I thought I had like found the perfect thing. Like I feel like all the dual degrees are looking for their like perfect mix of brown concentration and RISD concentration. And I thought that material science would be it. I would be a furniture maker with a heightened knowledge of material use, or I'd be an engineer that had a tangible connection to making. Either way, like I had my career set. So I took this 6-person material science course with 5 like aspiring metallurgists and me, like a junior furniture maker. And turns out that like material science was not interesting whatsoever for me. It was chemistry, like literally the temperature where austenite turns into a ferrite and perlite mix, or like how you add 1% of titanium to make material more corrosion resistant. Just like super granular, no pun intended, and not in a way that I enjoyed. This was a project that I made in my sophomore year. It was a bench with a carved wooden scarf and book inspired by woodcarver Wendell Castle. I think my approach towards furniture making as I entered the furniture department was similar to high school, where it was about developing my craft, learning new skills, learning new abilities, as opposed to sort of developing a research-based design process or having my final objects be some sort of artistic representation of who I am or what I believe. Here's another sort of set of detail shots of this bench that I made. I'm super proud of it, but at the same time, it like was not something that I would really call like art. This is a flower break. I set slide 18 for flower break in case I was moving too fast. Also, there's 18 more seconds. I took a photo of these flowers outside of the church on Benefit. I think they're really beautiful in the spring when all the flowers start popping up. It's definitely been my favorite part about Providence has been the like mid-April flowers. Okay, so I really then figured out my brown concentration, which was going to be user experience, which is a computer science discipline. So I decided to, instead of getting an SCB in engineering, get an AB in engineering, and then also spend some time doing computer science. Ivory's laughing right now. So yeah, I really think that user experience was not it for me. It's very much like a commodity-based discipline. Like you're sort of always developing assets and doing graphic design stuff. You're always working towards these industry standards, kind of like what Tina was talking about. But I did get a degree in this, so I spent a lot of time doing it. So then I started thinking like, what if I would be a designer for a living? And immediately like my stomach sort of dropped, which would be like sort of being a starving artist, super scary, like losing all opportunity to like be rich or famous or successful. But if I was going to be a designer, like I might as well be the best at it. So that leads to a research elective that I took my 4th year at RISD for Herman Miller, which is a like very large furniture distributor and manufacturer. We had the opportunity to travel to Zeeland, Michigan, where their headquarters are, and our final project was to develop a piece of furniture for the domestic interior of the Dupree House, which was built by Charles and Ray Eames, a very sort of iconic design duo of the 20th century. And the reason why I'm including this project, which you can see here, is because I started actually like include research into my design and development practice, as opposed to purely being able to try and like sort of master. Oh, you can see Darkside one the next year. As opposed to just sort of making for the sake of development. I remember Joe in the back, we've been talking a lot throughout this semester. I felt a ton of pressure about how to be the best designer, how to be the most successful. And I was just drawing in my sketchbook. And while I'm super proud of this project, like it was definitely a big like sort of dark moment in the semester because I wasn't feeling pride over the work that I was doing. Um, and moreover, just like if any little component of the project wasn't coming together perfectly, then I felt like it was a failure. Um, so 2022, sorry to relive it, Cal and Will in the back, but we lost in finals. Had a perfect, perfect regular season, dominant year. Worked extremely hard. I would say practice at times got chippy or intense or negative. We were going at each other. This is a video of me scoring the final goal in the semifinals to approach the nationals, and uh, I had a good game. I just remember not being excited at all, as you can see, because the job wasn't really finished. We hadn't won it yet, and that was sort of the theme of 2022. Was like I really like let the year sort of like run by me in terms of frisbee because every like positive moment was just like, of course it was positive. Like we worked hard enough to earn it, and then every negative moment was like, where did we go wrong? How did we fail? And so, although we had an extremely successful season, got a silver medal, like I was left feeling like I didn't enjoy sort of that whole year. So I knew I had to like shift my approach to competition. I wasn't really finding a groove in either material science or UI UX. And so I decided to like tune in a little bit more to the elements of life that I was enjoying that like sort of made me happy. This is a quote: "Every decision to use a portion of time on anything represents the sacrifice of all the other ways in which you could have spent that time but didn't. And to willingly make that sacrifice is to take a stand without reservation on what matters most to you." There's a book called Time Management for Mortals that Nate, who's in the audience, shared with me. Basically, what it's trying to say is like, whatever you decide to do, like you could be doing anything else. It's like the most obvious statement. But I think throughout my time at Brown RISD, getting sort of exposed to a ton of different disciplines, it's like worth sort of taking a moment to breathe and say, what do I actually want to be doing with my time? I think that's a very relevant question that a lot of us were trying to answer in our final years of school. It's like, what are we going to do with our time when we no longer have this structure of the education system? So I performed in a play. I read more books. I started going to therapy. I took a lot more photographs. Just generally deciding to like spend more active time finding things that made me happy. And I sort of was able to trust myself and say, I know I'd be able to put my all into everything that I wanted to do. And I can take a little bit of a moment to sort of explore what things make me smile. So these are two of my Frisbee teammates. We performed in this play called the Jit Boy Variety Show that was directed and written by one of our other teammates. Okay, 2023, Dark Side's back. They beat us in quarters, which most people regard as the de facto final, because after we lost, they sort of ran through the rest of the bracket. So this is a three-peat for them if you've been counting. And while it was like the worst finish, and I'll show you sort of the clip of us losing in quarters. While it was definitely the worst finish, I'd say like this was definitely my happiest year on the team. I felt extremely proud of like the work that we had all put in and was able to sort of enjoy sort of the moments, the banter, the little bits of energy that we were sharing, the wins that we had, and whatnot. Like as like one should when they are spending a lot of time doing something, I was able to actually like enjoy the process. Even this moment where they win. So close. It was on Universe, so if we scored, we would have won. So anyway, connecting to fulfillment and being happy is like trying to figure out if I was going to be a designer, if I was going to spend all my time making things, like what would fulfillment look like or happiness look like through the lens of a designer or a maker. And so that's sort of what I spent my degree project in furniture working on, was like developing a framework of fulfillment for myself based around my academic interests or expertise. So that connects to the theme of my degree project, which is titled Perennial. which is defined as lasting or existing for a long or apparently infinite time, enduring or continually recurring. And for my family, they know I've been a nature nugget forever. I love being in the woods. And so this sort of like theme of perennial connected to herbs in the natural world like really resonated with me as I began to develop what it means to respond to adversity and develop sort of a practice. And so for my lens as a furniture designer, this perennial is sort of a metaphor for how craft or like core making could exist for an infinite or long time through the current age of mass production or mass manufacturing, fast furniture, fast fashion. Like that's sort of like how I relate to this. But I was interested in sort of developing further, not just for me, but for anyone, how they would sort of embrace this theme of perennial in their own work. In the fall, I created this chair. It's called Tact Chair, made from ash. And the goal of this chair was just to like enjoy it. I hadn't done any sort of hand woodworking in 4 years and wanted to get back to the things that I love to do. And yeah, this is actually one of the first chairs or pieces that I'm really proud of. As someone with extremely high standards for myself, I think the allowing myself to sort of take a breath and enjoy the process made me enjoy the final result that much more. So as I mentioned in 2023, I was talking about how to embrace the positive aspects of competition, such as striving for something great, continual growth, and trust in the process that if at every point in the process I'm working as hard as I can, the final result will be as good as possible. And I was sort of using this framework of competition through the lens of furniture making to sort of develop my degree project, which here is a series of lights and bowls and other small things that I worked on through the fall and spring semesters. I would say that like this work is pretty tangential to what I've been talking about like through perennial, but mainly was a means for which I could explore furniture making, object making, and just sort of being happy. And yeah, I'm also proud of this stuff. I liked working in small scale because I think like small scale objects with ambient functions, they kind of ask you to engage with them on a more direct level. They can sort of blend into the background, but you also can take the time to engage with them and they'll capture your full interest. Sort of at the same time, I've been working on developing this collaborative studio, which is only a vision at this point. It doesn't actually exist, but at the core takes this idea of cross-disciplinary communication, which I'm sure all of the dualies can relate to, which is that like you only know your own silo so well of your own expertise. And it's really when you get the opportunity to engage with other people who've been spending their whole lives doing what they care about, that you start to realize that maybe we're all asking very similar questions in slightly different languages. And so the goal of Perennial will be like an outlet for you to meet other people that are doing similar things to you, to work on projects that are meaningful, and to engage with communities that you care about. So I know that sounds really broad because it is really broad because I have this like huge vision for what this can be. And I think in the beginning, it's only going to be focused on artists and designers because that's where my own expertise lies. But I'm super interested in expanding to include folks of a variety of academic disciplines. So fast forward to 2024 Nationals, Darkside's back. They beat us in pool play. This was Friday of last week. I got really scared when we lost for the 4th time to this team. Thought that it wouldn't be doable to win this tournament. But in the spirit of competition, sort of was able to connect with those on my team and really lock in on the work that we had done and the trust that we have in each other. And we did go on to win the championship. Unfortunately, not against Darkside because they lost in semifinals on the other side of the bracket. But that's uncontrollable. Anyway, it's a team that I'm extremely proud of. Needless to say, spent 10 to 20 hours a week of my entire college experience with these people. Being a part of a team, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, is one of the most incredible experiences. I highly recommend it. The opportunity to develop strong bonds and connections and work hard under a common goal. And we just so happen to have the storybook ending. Yeah, thank you.